was a fighter, calling them out. She was inside, lost in the doubt. But life's funny, it can twist and turn. Now they're a team, and the world can learn. Bunky and Magoo, the dynamic two, giving a voice to what's real and true. A tale of hope, and what we can do if we all had a little Bunky and Magoo. She had the stories, he had the fights. Now they're shining a big bright light. From OT3 to Target 2, they're telling it all. Bunky and Magoo. Bunky's got the questions, Magoo's got the past. No sec checking needed, we will pass. The needles are floating for those two. The perfect team, Bunky and Magoo. True, speaking the truth for me and you. No disconnection, the fair game too. They're shutting it down, Bunky and Magoo. She saw it all, but now she's free. He called out fraud in Scientology. Working together, see what they can do. It's showtime now with Bunky and Magoo.
Well, good evening and welcome back to Bunky and Magoo. Look, right here, right on your screen with me is Tory Christman, Magoo herself. Welcome, Magoo.
Welcome. Welcome, Bunky. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's nice to have you here. We've got a bunch of folks who have joining us already. Rochelle is here saying, yay, Bunky and Magoo. Everybody loves Bunky and Magoo.
Okay.
And Jay's here, the dynamic duo. Good evening, Mark and Tory. And good evening to you as well.
Yes.
And Kelly's reminding everybody, hey, hit that like button. That's how great my mod is. She's on top of everything like that because I always forget to say that. Hey, hit the like button, everybody.
And should I stream this to your audience? Because it says that at the top.
Sure, you can if you'd like. No? Okay. Yeah, because YouTube has cracked down on the same stream going to a couple different channels.
So don't do it. So
don't do it.
All right, but next time it's on my site.
Next time, yes. But we're here tonight because I have something special I've been trying to show you for a couple of months now.
Good. Okay.
And look, Agent Mom's here for it. Good SP says, hello, Mark and Tory. Mary James is here. Love when these two teams, she says. Here we are, making your evening.
I can see them, right? Is that right?
I guess not.
Oh, that's I missed them. JB808 is there. Hi.
Yeah, and Nurse Lori is here.
Oh, cool.
Mary James. Hi, Kelly. Hi, chat. Hi, Bunky and
Brandy Nips. All right.
It's always something.
And the Elk of Antioch.
Yes. Elk of Antioch. Says, hail Emperor Xenu and his loyal officers, Sister Magoo and Brother Bunky of the 3rd Invader Force. And JB808 is here. I salute you, sir. Welcome to you. All right, we've got quite a number of people here. Pepperoni Nips. Tory mentioned that in passing. I did not see that until just now. Hi to you. So who was it here said that she'd be humming that all night? Oh, well, it's always something is going to be humming that all night.
Oh,
and Tory, I know you have said that everybody has an intro, and you don't have an intro. So I've got one. I've got something here I'm going to play for you and see if this will work as an intro for you. May not. Let me know what you think about it, and everybody out there. Let's get everybody's take on this. Come on.
Let me tell you about my friend Magoo. Strap yourself in, it's all true. When you hear what she's been through, you'll fall in love with sweet Magoo. She was grooving in the 60s, feeling wild and free. So it shocked us all when she signed up with Scientology. This hippie chick just hit the road, come to ride with stars inside. From the windy city to LA with Velma as her life. Oh, sweet Magoo, she had no fear. Just a dream to reach the state of clear. She joined the Sea or didn't know. She's not nothing news to the Truman Show. For 30 years she followed the tech. OT7 passed every check. She thought she was saving all mankind. So when OSA called, she didn't decline. They gave her tools to fight online. To silence critics, she'd never mind. But one devil reached out with something new. A simple act of kindness and it broke through.
Dance break.
Oh, sweet Magoo, how could she know that this was to crack the Truman Show? A Norwegian man with words so true. Unravel the chains around Magoo. Andrea said, I believe in truth, in hearing both sides through and through. And I believe in speaking out with courage when you do. She said, if I leave him, I'll lose my friends. He didn't even blink. What kind of friends would walk away just 'cause you changed what you think? It touched her heart, she flew away, while OSA chased her all the way. In Florida, she found her crew, new friends who truly love Magoo. No longer bound, no longer afraid. She tells the truth the cult once made. She speaks for those still pushing through. A rebel like forever bright, that's our sweet Magoo.
It's the debut of my sweet Magoo.
Very sweet. It's a little long. That's my only concern.
Well, there you go. It can always be trimmed.
And I didn't join the Sea Org and stay in it. So I was only in it for 6 months.
Well, these songwriters today, you can't trust them. They'll put anything into music.
I don't know. You probably put it through AI, right?
Well, ChatGPT and I worked on it together, yes.
All right.
I supplied as much.
We have to cut it down, but other than that, I like it.
All right. Very good. Let's see the reactions from anybody else out here. Let's see. What's everybody else thinking about this? JB808 calls us legends and national treasures, both of us. Thank you. Tori's lovely smile and humor. And Monica Unknown says she loves it already.
I love it one time, but I just think as far as every time someone comes onto a video, that whole long thing would be too much.
Well, it can be trimmed down. That's why on my intro, I've trimmed that down to 30 seconds.
Yeah, that would be perfect. Something like that.
But you got to have it to listen to hear, to experience it.
Exactly. It's very good in that sense.
All right. Mary James sees a Grammy Award coming soon. That would be nice.
Mark is definitely up for one. I was there when he got his Emmy.
She was my date to the Emmy Awards back in San Diego, way back in the 1800s.
And Fraud Alert called me at my job afterwards. It scared me to death.
Fraud Alert?
Yeah, they said, this is Fraud Alert. I said, okay. I was like really spooked out. And they said, did you buy a lipstick in San Diego for $15.99 or something like that? And I said,
your credit card.
And did you go to the House of Pies? Because I took you out for pie. And I said, yes. And they said, okay, thank you very much. And I called my bank. What the hell is this? And they said, look, you were out of town. You're out of where you're spending area. So they check on it because it goes $10, $15, $30, $100, and then they're into thousands and buying a car.
Yeah.
So I always let them know if I go out of town. I always call Fraud Alert. I go, I'm going so-and-so.
So House of Pies is in L.A.
I know I can't remember the name of where I took you, but it was somewhere like that, where it was a pie place.
Yeah, I remember us having a fine night, and I think that was 2006. Well, wait a minute, I could find out for sure right now. Because it's
Let's see
sitting
it.
right here.
Ooh, look how pretty it is. Let me see it again.
Oh, it's sparkling. I'll put it up there. 2005 was
That is
this
a
award.
Beautiful Emmy. Wow.
Isn't it gorgeous?
It really is.
Ooh.
You should always have that behind you. You used to always have it behind you.
I don't have any place to put it behind me. I can, kind of wear it on my shoulder.
No, get a tall, like a bookshelf and have it behind you.
I have a sofa behind me. I don't have any room for anything in here. I can't, listen, there's no place I can put the damn camera that is an effective space. This is the only space I have.
All right,
My
I have it. At the back of the wall, you can see your back wall next to the window. Put a little shelf and put it on it.
It'd be tiny. It'd be minuscule. You wouldn't even notice it back there.
You want to bet?
If it was closer, it'd be fine.
All right.
Otherwise, it's fine.
Okay.
If I were able to do this in my office, I'd have it there because I always used to have it behind me there. But my office has the air conditioning unit, which is as loud as all get out. You can't hear a damn thing when that kicks on.
Yeah. And you got the little cups.
It's Monkey and Magoo right there. We have to get you one, Magoo.
I know. I have to get one. And I have to be able to sell them. I want to sell them too.
Oh, okay. We'll put a store up for you.
I don't have any merchandise.
Well, you can have that one.
It's my one thing to sell. Monkey and Magoo.
Mary James loves it, says it's a quite catchy beat.
It is. It's a great. I like it a lot for the first time, but I'm just thinking for the intro for everyone, just like yours was cut down to 30 seconds. That's what we should do.
Well, and it's always something agrees. Yep, you got to trim that down. Simon Bolivar is here. Welcome to you. And Benebeck 33, hip hip hooray. Yes. FYT 54321 points out that House of Spies is in Los Feliz, right around where I used to live, and it was a great place to go.
Yeah.
I'm sure it still is.
It is.
I have not been there in a number of years now. Sarasota Jerry is here. Hello to you. Fraud alert. I don't think Tory was saying frog alert. It was fraud alert.
No, it wasn't frog alert.
And Good Buddy Never In says, hey there, peeps, two of my favorites. Glad to catch you all, love. Glad to catch you all, love. Thanks for all you do.
Now,
There's two
pepperoni
interpretations of that.
Oh, wait. Pepperoni Nip says 2 nips up. Do you know what that means?
I do, but I'm not sure you do, Tory.
I don't. What does it mean?
I believe there is a kind of an adult theme to that, I believe.
You can't say it?
I'd rather not.
Okay. I'll look it up.
Yes, I want you to.
And I have some news. I have gone viral on TikTok.
Ooh, that's right. You're a big, huge TikTok star.
Somebody asked me to put 3 1-minute videos up on TikTok. And I thought, okay. I've been trying to get people to warn the kids that Scientology's after them and warn people from other countries that Scientology's after them. And no one will do it. So I thought, all right, that's one of my videos. And that's the one that went viral. It was I think 100.
Instantly.
It was like 1,000 or something like that. Now it's 3.3 million views. And that was a week ago.
Wow.
I know.
That's remarkable.
I know.
I guess that's why people use it. and why
I think
they
so.
don't care that China has all our information.
If I
It's
can
got 3
warn the
million
kids,
views.
I
There you
don't
go.
care. If I can warn people from other countries, I don't care. You know,
All right.
so, you know they take their passports when they get them, right?
When what do you mean? When
Like
Scientology gets
if
passports?
Scientology gets somebody from another country to join the Sea Org, they say, "Oh yeah, you'll get 3 meals a day and 2, nice place to sleep, blah blah blah," and they come and they take their passport right away, so they can't get away.
That's true. That's true. And you would think that somebody in the government would care about that, but I don't
I
think
know,
anybody in the government cares about anything anymore.
I know. Hi,
Doctor
Lupita.
Who fan is here. Oh, hey
Who?
Mark. Hey, hi Tori. Doctor Who fan is here.
No, Doctor Who fan. Aren't you a
And
Doctor Who fan?
I am. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. That's why we always hang out here in my own little TARDIS, where there are plenty of places to put an Emmy Award, but I don't like to show off. Let's see. Lapita, nice to see you. All right. And Haggis Basher says ICE needs to raid Blue and Flag. Well, they're a little busy. They're dragging other people off the street. They can't worry about Scientology. At any rate, so Magoo, now that you're a big TikTok star, it's nice of you to come in and spend a little time with me here on my lowly YouTube channel. But
Okay, I'm always happy to spend time with you. Always.
You brighten up any service.
Thank you. And you do too.
So I thought we'd talk a bit about Clearwater tonight, because there's been so much going on lately with trying to sell Garden Street to Scientology, and it's shocking to see how things have changed. In fact, I called this video "Sparkling Clearwater is Not for Sale," which was Gabe Casares' catchphrase from way back when Scientology snuck into town. And I put a little asterisk there saying subject to change, talk to current management, because it looks like it may well be up for sale nowadays. And I have an announcement to make about tomorrow's night stream. I'm going to be joined here by Brooks Gibbs from the Save the Garden website. And he's the fellow who launched this project that will do a lot of good in the community, and already has by stopping the sale of Garden Street to Scientology.
Good.
So we'll be talking all about that tomorrow.
Was he in Scientology or not?
No, nope.
Wow. Good for
He
him.
just at the very last minute, if you're not familiar with the story, Scientology's been lusting after getting a block long part of Garden Street to shut down for their L. Ron Hubbard Hall, the beautiful, majestic L. Ron Hubbard Hall, which will be a blight on our urban landscape. And right across the street from the L. Ron Hubbard Hall will be a beautiful, magnificent, gorgeous L. Ron Hubbard Park with giant marble columns there with L. Ron Hubbard's 21 precepts from the way to happiness.
Oh, Jesus. Are you serious?
I am serious. It is this gaudy monstrosity that one of the council members, Ryan Cotton, who took over my seat, was in love with. Oh, people could see this. Oh my God, but they have to see this. It is so gorgeous, and it's going to be open to the public. It's a public park that the city doesn't have to pay for. The Scientology will take care of everything.
Oh,
won't cost us a thing. Well, yeah, it's going to cost you a
always going to cost.
Yeah, it's going to cost you the even further damage to the downtown.
Yeah.
So we'll go into that quite a bit tomorrow night.
Good.
But you were here in the 70s when Scientology just the Sea Org came off the boat. Hubbard landed here and set up shop at the Fort Harrison Hotel and at the bank building here. were you in the Sea Org at that time?
No.
No.
We moved
And-
from LA to originally Brandon, which is outside of Tampa.
Mhm.
And I was so lonely because there was nobody there. It was just a little housing development, and all the rest was farmland. And so anyway, we moved into next to Clearwater, which is Largo. And Richard Tenney had Save Sparkling Clearwater, Stamp Out Scientology. And
he was,
Milt,
Richard Tenney was a council member.
he was a city commissioner, and he wanted to run to be mayor. And they had gotten rid of, what happened to you, Bunky? Bunky. Uh-oh, we lost him. Mark Bunker. All right, let me see. Bunky?
So I somehow got cut off the internet.
I know, there you are. I'm like, Bunky?
God, thank God that I didn't have to start a brand new stream.
No.
Well, that,
Okay, so
that was kind of freaky.
I know it was. So Richard Tenney took, they got rid of Gabe Gazaris, which was awful what they did to him. They had an attorney go and work for him and, basically sneak and get all the information on him and report it to Scientology. Now, by the time we moved there, that had already happened. And Richard Tenney was running the Save Sparkling Clearwater, Stamp Out Scientology, vote for me, don't vote for them. Scientologists are liars, so don't trust them. And this guy, Milt Wolf, called me into his office and he said, look, because they were, driving up and down the street and honk out Scientology. It was just like hundreds of people. It was unbelievable. I'd never seen anything like it. And I was like, I go into his office. I've just had my son. So my son is like 6 months old. And he says, we need you to handle this. I said, me? Why don't you have the Sea Org handle it? He said, we can't. Because his whole pitch is we're liars. And we did come here on a lie. We said we were the church of, what is it?
Well, United Churches of Florida.
United Churches of Florida. And he said we lied. And we said that's who we were, and we weren't. So we are liars. And so the Sea Org can't handle it. So you have to handle it, Tory. And, I'm like, what am I going to do? These are mobs of people across from the Fort Harrison, honk out Scientology and all this shit. So anyway, I thought, all right, I'll start with one lady. So I go out in the street, and there's an older grandmother with an American flag in one hand and Stamp Out Scientology in the other one. And I walk up to her and I say, what the hell are you doing? And she goes, I'm fighting for, freedom and blah, blah, blah. And my son starts crying, right? And I said, look, you're a grandmother, right? And she goes, yes. And I said, okay, the only thing that's happening here is my son is crying. You're not helping anyone. And this is my church. Go home. Just put down your flags and go home and leave us alone. And she did. She put down her flags and she left. So then that was my thing, to just go person to person, person to person. And I started going to their meetings. It just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And finally, Richard Tenney came. I was there. They wanted me to join Save Sparkling Clearwater, Stamp Out Scientology. So I walk in with somebody else. And
Scientology want you to?
Yeah. And so OSA. And so they said, yeah, go join it. So I said, okay, whatever. So, this was the beginning of me helping OSA, right? This is how this all started. So I go into the office and I say, we're here, we're local people, and we want to join Safe Sparkling Clearwater. And they're older ladies, and they're like, okay, come on in. So now I'm inside, and Richard Tenney comes in. And I say, look, you are my city commissioner. And Richard Libby is there. Remember him? He was the journalist there writing. And Harold said, don't ever trust that guy. He lies about us all the time. So he's madly writing on this notebook. He's a little short guy. And he's like writing away and writing away. And I say, look, you are my city commissioner. And he goes, I'm not your city commissioner. And I said, you're going to say in front of a journalist that because of my religion, you're not my city commissioner? And he goes, that's correct. And I see Richard Tenney, Richard Libby, he's like writing away. So I just take the notebook and I say to him, I say, look, if you ever write anything in your newspaper that isn't absolutely true about me, if you write any lies, I'm personally going to come out to your house. Now, I've never hit anybody in my life, but this guy was scared. He really was. And he never wrote any lies about me. He never did. He wrote a lot of lies about other people. So they said. They probably were true.
Yeah, I doubt anything he wrote was a lie.
No, I don't think it was. But, we were in the Truman Show. So we believed what we were told. And,
He's a really solid journalist. And I think he moved on to, if I'm right, like the Washington Post.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy. And Richard Tinney, we did get voted out of office, so that was my big statistic. I went from 0 to call Tory; she can handle anything. It was everywhere I went. Call Tory; she can handle it. It was unbelievable.
Unfortunately, they don't have anybody with your powers now. No individual has been able to actually change the texture or the people who are on the council. It took the full might of the Republican Party and the moneyed interests to get rid of me. But Scientology didn't really have much of an impact on that. No, I don't think they did. They did get their candidate, though. They did get the guy who they were supporting. Yeah,
I think they did.
You think Scientology had a deciding
from 1
factor
to 10? I would say they were 8 on the list of making sure that Mark Bunker did not get reelected.
Well, I'm sure they were working hard on it. Yeah. And unfortunately, there were some other things that went into my defeat. The fact that they had another candidate who was running opposing Scientology just to draw votes away from me. That was a candidate recruited by the former mayor, from my understanding, who wanted to get rid of me, who was very mad at me.
Wow.
He quit in the middle of one of our meetings.
I remember that.
Yeah, he didn't like some of the decisions that this council was making unanimously, like 4 against 1. So he quit and then worked behind the scenes to kind of sabotage everything that we had been working to accomplish.
I still think you should run again, and I think you'd win. I do.
We will give that a shot. I've been hearing from more and more people, and it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out next year when the election will be
next
occurring.
year. Next year is the vote.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Midterms. 26 is when the next vote would happen.
Oh, that's exciting.
It is. It couldn't. I wish it was next week instead of next year. I'd like to get on with it.
Yeah.
But it should be a fun adventure.
I think you'll win.
So it is interesting, though, how things have evolved over the years here, as people were actually stunned when Scientology's first snuck into town, and after a month, Gabe Casares discovered that it was actually Scientology, and went on to radio and everywhere he could, talking about this deception, and that there were people taking to the streets at that point. And they did fill up a sports arena here with folks angry about this. Paulette Cooper had come here to Clearwater to address the crowd at the stadium.
Good.
And a number of other people as well made it to 60 Minutes. So
wow.
After the FBI raids uncovered all these dirty tricks against Paulette and against Clearwater citizens, and then Clearwater Mayor Casares, and L. Ron Hubbard's wife, Mary Sue, and 10 other officials went to prison for all these crimes. So there was a lot more attention on Scientology at that point.
Yeah, I love the way Hubbard just threw his wife right under the bus.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I had nothing to do with it. When we knew he wrote the programs.
Sure.
And he said, "Oh no,
Sure.
she did it all. It's all her. Put her in prison."
Well, I mean, he went into hiding, but he couldn't come out of hiding to visit his wife in prison. He couldn't even go live on or even videotape a message to say, "Oh, there's been a terrible mistake," and
Right.
he just hid away in the desert, worried about him being carted off as well. What a great man L. Ron Hubbard was. You know what we ought to do? We ought to put up a big hall with his name on it and a big park with 21 precepts on it.
Oh God. I just had dinner with someone who was there when the RPF was started. And you know what year it was?
No.
1974. That's the year I got married. I had no idea. She was there.
Very nice.
I had a dinner with Spanky, Mitch, and this lady and myself.
How are they?
They're all great. It was fascinating to hear their stories. I mean, they're crazy as monkeys.
So that was your dinner tonight?
Yeah. And I said, I set my timer and I said to Spanky, I have to leave at this time because I have an interview with Mark. And Mitch asked me to say hello to you.
Well, hello, Mitch.
I said, no, I'm not going to say hi to him. But what the hell?
She can't be trusted, Mitch. She'll say no, she won't do it, and then she'll go ahead and say hi to me anyways.
Well, anyway,
Can't
they all
trust that woman.
Everybody loves you. That's why I think
do.
you should run.
Well, I'm thrilled to know that I'll have the vote of Mitch and Spanky.
And Tory.
And Tory, you just have to
What do you
move
mean?
here by then. It's just that you can't vote for me unless you move here. That's what I mean.
Neither can they. But
Well,
you're happy to have
all of you. No, all of you come. You'll have to move here. I was saying, yeah.
That'll be the day. But the humidity, forget about it.
Oh, you get used to it after a lifetime.
No. I already grew up in Chicago.
Well, Chicago is nothing compared to this. The Alka Vantiac says, to be honest, I don't know if I'd come out of hiding to visit my wife in prison. I don't even like coming out of don't like coming out of hiding to visit my wife at her mother-in-law's, at my mother-in-law's for Thanksgiving. All right. So how long were you living in Largo here in the Clearwater area?
We were there we moved in 79 and in 80, and immediately I was like, because they're very racist there, and I didn't want my son growing up around racism. So I said, look, we got to get out of here. And Harold was working in an office, so he didn't see any of that. So, okay, now it's Thanksgiving 1982, and we're going to my mother's, who lived in Fort Myers, which is about 2 hours south of Clearwater. And we're driving along, and I've been trying to tell him about these rednecks, but he was like, oh, it's fine, everything's fine. So now the car breaks down, and we go to some little, car place out in the middle of nowhere, and they see California plates, and they go, well, what do you know, Billy Bob? They're from California. And I think, oh, great. On Thanksgiving, of course. And they just go back and forth. I'm like, can you help us? Can you fix the car? I don't know. I don't know if we can. What do you think? What do you think, Billy Bob? No, I don't know. We really don't know. We don't know if we can. And they just kept working us over and being dicks. And I was like, we were both ready to just really strangle them. It was like they were so mean. And I finally got my mom on the phone because I was crying. And she was like, please let me talk to him. And, it was like, forget it. So finally they fixed the car, and we get in the car, and Harold says, all right, that's it. We're going back to LA. I was like, yes. because he finally saw what I was talking about.
Huh. I'm amazed when I go through some areas that are out in the country, essentially,
Right.
and it really does look like what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's spooky. It really is.
I haven't really seen a lot of racism myself here. Although I have to say, when I was on the,
they came
Yeah.
to my house and
I'm
said,
not saying that they didn't.
and said, there's an end that's moving in on the block. We want to make sure that you don't let him. And I went like this. Is this 60 Minutes? I mean, is this what was that show that used to be?
Well, 60 Minutes was
No, it wasn't 60 Minutes. It was, it was a real funny one where
Candid Camera.
Yeah, I said, is this Candid Camera? I honestly thought they were. They couldn't possibly be coming to my house. And he said, no, we're dead serious. I said, okay, then I'm dead serious. Get the hell off my lawn and don't come back. I mean, I didn't like these people at all. It was like, no. Mm-mm.
The only situation I've encountered was when I was on the council. And there was a neighborhood that was very upset about something that was going up on their street. They were worried that what was being built was going to increase traffic and make it even more dangerous. So they would not let up and continually coming to demand that the city not allow this building to be put up.
Right.
And I started off by helping them. I went over to their house. There, a group of them, like 5 of them, were there to show me all the paperwork, take me down to the street, show me how dangerous it is. And there was a lot of traffic whizzing by, and there were some safety issues there indeed. And I tried to help them with that. But then one of the guys sent me an email that was this most racist video I've ever seen. And I went, I had to look where it came from. And it came from one of the major racist websites. I can't remember the Stormfront, I think is the name of it.
Was it from Clearwater?
That website, no, but this was a clearinghouse for racists. And I emailed back this guy who sent it to me and said, listen, is there some mistake here? Is this a joke? Because this is entirely wrong what you sent me. And it came here from this Nazi website. And he went, oh, I didn't know that. Well, how could you not know it? It's right there.
It's a big flag.
Yeah, and he was standing by everything there, and I just said that's it. No more support from me. I understand you're passionate about the road here, and I understand that, but do not send me crap like this again.
No.
But that really shocked me in this time, day and age. That
me too. It did to me, and this was in the 90s.
Yeah,
I was like, God, I really didn't think people like that were around. It was very spooky.
Stormfront is kind of hardcore. Yeah, I'd say so. Okay. That's the only time that I've actually had a problem with a constituent where it's like.
But don't you think Scientology is still trying to take over Clearwater? I mean, that was their intent in 79. It was like, we're going to take it over. And they did move out a lot of the business early on in 79. It was like, people were like, we're out of here. And it was awful.
No doubt. Yeah, no, they're continuing to try to take over the city. Absolutely. And we've seen that action as Miscavige has been telling everyone, move here. He's circling the wagons here in Clearwater.
Right.
And I think me being elected to the council was, one part of his reasoning for doing that.
Yeah.
But he is seeing a shrinking church. You know, people continue to exit, and it's so hard to get new people. So he seems to be consolidating everything here in Clearwater, much to our great consternation.
And someone in Africa told me in South Africa, they do have a huge Sea Org spread that is being built, just so you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, they certainly have the money to build buildings, and that's what they do best, because then slap
She thought they were going to move there.
I doubt it. No,
Really?
it's more of they open these things so they can say they're expanding, but there's nobody in the buildings. So
that I know, but yeah. this has been going on for years, and
sure,
we'll see what happens.
It's going to continue to go on for years. I mean, that's the only trick he has. We'll open up another ideal org. We'll open up another palace, and it'll be spectacular. And that's going to change everything. We're going to clear the planet big time. In the meantime, how many clears are there?
How can you even say that with nobody joining anymore?
Well, who, you know, if you're in Scientology, as you know, you wouldn't be looking for the truth. You'd be listening to what Hubbard said and go, yeah, okay, that sounds great to me. You don't question these things. If they say that business is booming everywhere except where you are, you've got some problem where you are. Well, I don't know why you're not upstat like all these other orgs around the world that they're just blossoming. You slackers get to work. Get those people in off the street. But every org is getting that same pitch of, well.
But towards the end, I did start thinking, and I was OT7, and it's like a triangle, and OT8's the top. Sure. And I started thinking, all he ever talks about is other countries. Like there's nothing in America that he talks about is an ideal org, you know, that really is, because we can go there and see it and go, it's empty. So now he's really pushing, you know, Brazil we have the way to happiness and all the police departments, or, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
And after a while you start going, why is he always pushing this kind of other, you know, it's like front group kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Narconon, Criminon, you know.
Yeah, you gotta clear the planet, and it's easier to clear the planet where no one's looking. Oh yeah, over there. Oh, Brazil's booming.
Well, we started thinking about it. I'm surprised Harold stayed. I really am.
Yeah.
I am.
That bum.
I agree. That bum.
Yeah, but you know, more and more people leave. It's impossible to get new people, essentially. So,
well, Miscavige has completely destroyed the Mission Network, which is what got new people in.
Yeah,
and the original Mission Network, just so any new people know, it was sort of like Carol's parents. They got in 1950, and they'd invite people over. Come on over for some coffee and cookies, and we're going to tell you a little bit about Dianetics, because they'd go hear the, you know, lecture by Hubbard.
Sure.
And then they'd have people over, and that, you know, people didn't want to go into Scientology. You know what I mean? It was like too big a commitment. So they'd go to these missions, and they'd get better, and they'd do a course, and then they'd start liking it. And then they'd be like, you know, I think you're ready to go over to the org. And they'd be like, okay. And if they didn't, if they're like, ooh, I don't want to go there, okay, well, let's do some more courses here, you know. But it really worked. Yeah. It did.
It was a McDonald's franchise type of thing where, you know, you served the burgers and you gave the cut to Scientology, and it was working for everyone. Until
I know. I to this day, I don't get why they cut it out.
Well, because the mission holders had too much control and kept too much of the money. And Miscavige said, we got to change this. I assume, okay, YouTube watcher has a comment here. I assume the bird was rehomed. I'm sorry to say I forgot to feed the bird, and he is no longer with us. No squawking
bird?
or maybe high-pitched beeping. I also noticed it stopped for the Ortega interviews. Congrats, Mark. The people here at my amazing apartment complex decided, oh, and I have a story to share after this, decided that they need to come in and do all sorts of modifications. And they came in and put in a new fire alarm that was chirping every 35 seconds. And I went down to the office and complained bitterly. This thing's going off every 35 seconds. Look, I timed it here on my, look on my timer on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, I can't help but notice that yours isn't going off every 35 seconds in the office here.
Interesting.
Fix this. And they went, nope, it's got to stay that way until the inspector comes in 16 days. And I lived with it for a couple of days. I had tried that first day to put in a different battery, and it didn't matter. And I pulled the battery out entirely, and it was still chirping without the battery. But I finally, after a couple of days, I said, I'm going to break down and buy some new batteries. And one of the new batteries stopped it. So there you go. Everyone who was saying, put a new battery in there was right.
And this is the bird?
There are people who came in late to the stream, and they're hearing this, and I didn't want to go through the whole story about it's the fire detector going off. So I started just to say that I had a bird here, and so and everyone who was following along with us was playing along with it. Oh yeah, I don't know, I don't hear any fire alarm. What?
Wow, good.
Anyway, but that reminds me that one day last week, I woke up and there was a man in my bedroom.
A man?
And I went, a man, and it's like, huh? Apparently, there was no 24-hour notice, as there always is supposed to be when somebody is coming here. But apparently, I slept through them knocking on the door here in the hallway. And I had my bedroom door closed, and suddenly this guy goes, "Don't get up," and woke me up, and he said, "Oh, you can go back to sleep." And I went, "What? Huh? And, I mean, it's very disturbing.
And what was it?
Some doing some more work here for, fix up whatever they wanted to fix that
And
day.
somebody let him in?
Yeah, they have the key to the place, and normally if they give you 24-hour notice, if you're not there, they enter, do the work, and leave. And I guess they figured I wasn't there because I didn't answer the door. But there was no 24-hour notice, for God's sakes.
Very fishy.
And that's not legal.
No.
Anyway, it's just kind of startling. I mean, I wish I could say there was a woman in my bedroom the other morning. And no, I have to say there was a man in my bedroom. Anyway, life is exciting here in Clearwater. YouTube watcher.
Do you remember
says,
when you wanted to be mayor?
Well, hold on for a second. YouTube watcher has a comment here. I had a man walk into my apartment, claimed he was going to look at my furnace, but I never called to have work done. That is not good.
Oh, that is not good.
Yeah, that's a scam. I'm sure whatever this was had to do with the fact that they were working on all the different apartments. There's like 300 apartments in this complex, and they say we're going through and we're going to do all this work, and you can't stop us.
I don't know. I would still check with them, Mark. I mean, what if they?
No, all my valuables I keep under the bed. So yeah, they got nothing. No,
I know that's what I always say. Come on in and rob my house. You take whatever you want. I'll be happy to get rid of it. I have nothing.
So you hear that, everybody? If you want to come and rob my apartment, just go to Tori's. She doesn't care.
come to mine. Come on over.
Yeah.
The door is
Yeah.
open.
So I'm sorry, Maguski, you were going to say something?
Remember when you wanted to be the mayor of Clearwater?
Mayor? Yep.
Do you still have that goal?
No. I will be happy to just get back on the council. At this point, if I'm reelected, I would be, 74 by the time that term ends. Who wants a 74-year-old mayor?
I don't know. They have a lot of 74-year-old mayors.
Now listen to this. I go by faith. Says I'm dying laughing. Oh my gosh, that is disturbing. Having a man in my bedroom.
It is when you're not ordering it.
Yikes. YouTube. And Amy M says, I never answer my door unless I'm expecting anyone. Well, that's a good rule to have. I never answer my door when I'm sound asleep and I don't hear any knocking. That's my general rule.
But this guy came in anyway, right?
Yep. Kelly says, my dog will let you in, but zero chance you'd be getting back out. Wow.
Good one,
Wow.
Kelly. Ordering it, Tory? You want to share? What are we ordering? What is that?
I'm not sure. Kelly,
Kelly,
we lost
what are
track
you
of the
talking about?
conversation. Are you ordering people to come and rob your house? Is that what the question
Is
is?
that what you, no, I'm not. I'm not
No.
ordering that.
And Tina and the last 20 is locked and loaded within reach if anyone tries to burst into her bedroom.
Yeah, be
So,
careful on that one. I used to sell
I'm
security.
Yeah.
People think if anybody comes in your house, you're going to shoot them, but that's not true. And you can go to prison for it. So be careful.
Well,
You just have to know your local laws. Know what your local laws are. That's all.
yeah.
Because here, that's not true.
Yeah. Most places nowadays, it seems like, yeah, go ahead, shoot them. What do we care? As, in Florida here, you got that. What do they call that? Stand your ground, or no, it's not that. But
What is it?
There's some stand your ground type of
Stand
law.
your ground. Yeah.
Yeah. If they get on your property, you're a dead man.
Not here. You can do
And
it. You'll go to prison.
I worry about that when I'm like picking up like an Uber passenger. There are times when, they'll send you to an address and I'll be waiting there wondering, okay, well, I'm not seeing anybody coming here. And there have been, now normally, you see this in the news as a black person who's pulled up to the wrong house, and before any questions are asked and answered, there's a murder. And then the person goes, hey, it was on my property. They should not have. Somebody knocked at the wrong door looking
Right.
for, it's like, oh, God. And sure. Life is really wacky.
Crazy.
I will say this. Any guy who breaks into my bedroom, you're not going to be shot, but you won't be welcomed. Let's see. No, you can't kill anyone just for being on property. But if you say you're threatened, oh my God, I was scared for my life. They in Florida, I think you can pretty much get away with anything as long as you're.
Yeah, Florida's a different place. It's like Mars.
All right. So, boy. I've lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
We're talking about the Clearwater of today as opposed to yesterday.
Well,
So when did you leave? You left in the early 80s?
I left in
Clearwater?
82. 82. After the Thanksgiving nightmare.
So you were around at that point then for the Clearwater hearings in 1982, weren't you?
I might have been. I didn't know about him.
It would have been great if we had videotape of you standing up in the meetings going, "Stop this meeting right now."
I did do that here in LA. I did
Yeah.
with Margaret Singer, who's a psychologist. And she was reading about disconnection. And I stood up and I said, that is not true. That has been canceled. It's a cancel. And they did write a cancellation, but it's a cancellation of the term fair game. And at the bottom of the cancellation, it says, this does not apply to suppressive people, which are the only people that would be fair game.
Yeah. So was that in a courtroom in a hearing, or
Yeah.
was that at a meeting? Okay.
It was in a courtroom. I did a lot of things in courtrooms. Larry Wallerstein was on the stand, and the promise from the judge was that he wouldn't let OT3 into the courtroom. And this is before anybody knew about Xenu. Like now everybody knows about it. But back then, nobody had even heard of it unless you'd done OT3, right? So his promise was, okay, I won't let it in. But Larry was talking about these dreams, and I thought, and Ken Hoden, who was the president, had said, Tory, you can do whatever you have to do. Just do it. Just make sure you handle this. So now I see him start going into this dream kind of thing, and I jump up and I say, Your Honor, you promised you weren't going to let this OT3 in. I said, Your Honor, I have something to say. And their attorney stands up and he goes, she can't talk. She can't talk. And the judge goes, all right, that's it. And I think he's saying it to me, like, that's it. You know, sit down and shut up. I'm just in the audience, right? And he goes, that's it, to the attorney. She might have something important to say. And he gets all the jury to leave the room. And then he says to me, now remember, you've got Wallerstein's attorney here, and then Scientology's attorneys over here with all the executives. A bunch of executives were there that day. And so he said, he looks at me and he goes, okay, I have one question. And I said, okay. And he goes, why isn't Mr. Cooley, their attorney, saying anything about this? And I don't faint. I really don't. I've never fainted in my life, but I almost fainted there. I was like, oh, dear God, you know, this is awful. And then I have a thing that I've done my whole life, which is if something happens to me, it's like, get it together, Tory, get it together. And it's just like my own little personal voice to get it together. And so I heard myself go, get it together, Tory, get it together. And then I had to think about it. And I said, okay, Your Honor, I don't mean to be offensive, but Mr. Cooley is not OT3. I am. And all the executives started jumping up. I'm OT3. I'm OT3. I'm OT3. I'm OT3. And that was it. You know, so Yachty came over to my house that night because he was in the back doing all the printing of all the transcripts. And he handed me a big, thick thing of that whole transcript. And he goes, here's your OT8. Because OT8, you have to do something big for the church to get onto OT8. And he was saying that would do it.
But it didn't. You never got to OT8.
No, I never did. And I didn't want to after seeing my husband. He was totally a wreck. Everybody I knew who did OT8 was a mess.
Come to think of it, after seeing your husband, I didn't want to go OT8 either.
You and Hare got along. You know that.
We did. No, he's a good guy. I had nothing against him.
I know.
I just, he did not convince me that I should get on the bridge and go all the way up to OT8 is all.
No. He had a real time on it. He did. But do you think Miscavige is really going to try to continue taking over Clearwater?
Sure. Well, yeah. I mean, it's his big plan to supposedly redevelop downtown by himself so he can micromanage everything. I can't imagine. Well, one, I can't imagine he's ever going to really come through and put businesses into all the empty buildings. But
you're right.
If he does, every auditing room at Flag has microphones and cameras in it, and he can push a button and watch whatever confession is going on at any particular moment. For him to have total control of all the businesses downtown, how is that going to work out?
Really.
Are you telling us that he's not going to be micromanaging who gets to shop where and how people are treated? And it does not seem to be a conducive way to actually run a business.
That's what I think you need to start now, going around to businesses and educating them on stuff like this.
Well, there are not businesses downtown except for the handful that have been up and running. We'll talk more about this with Brooks tomorrow, because Brooks and the folks who are working with him, they are part of the business community.
Okay. And what time is it going to be on tomorrow?
10 o'clock tomorrow night. And then Thursday night, there's going to be a celebratory gathering on the 22nd at 6 p.m. at a sports bar on the 500 block of Cleveland Street. And I'll have those details for you tomorrow. I just noticed that today. Forget the name of the sports bar. I have not been there yet. But I should be there Thursday night at 6. And if anyone's in the area and wants to join us all, it should be a fun night.
Sounds like it. And
so
it's really good.
So So the fact that there's maybe 5 restaurants that are in buildings owned by Agami. Those are the major ones that we all can rattle off here. Clear Sky, Downtown Pizza, Tequila's Mexican restaurant, and there's at least 1 or 2 more there I can't name right now. But those folks have been dealing with Agami's ownership of the buildings for a few years now.
Okay, so let me revise.
The rest of the buildings are empty.
Yeah, I know. I don't mean, obviously, if they're empty, there's no voters in them. So I'm saying go wherever you have to go to talk to the voters. That's what I did to get rid of Richard Tenney.
Yeah.
They have meetings and stuff. Go to the meetings and start talking to them. So they get to know you and you become a friendly face. You know what I mean?
Well, sure.
And new people are moving in, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
So it's new to get to know them.
Well, I'm going to invite you. Come on over here. You're good at this. Come on down to Clearwater and meet the neighborhood groups with me.
Meet the neighborhood. You have to come with me. Bunky and Magoo.
That's right. And we'll go over to the Stormfront neighborhood.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's see here. So Prelude Sports Bar is the name of the sports bar, according to Monica Unknown.
It's called Great New?
Prelude.
Oh, Prelude.
Okay. All right. So yeah, this is the big battle we have now, as Miscavige is kind of bribing the city,
right,
with the promise of, oh, I'm going to come through with all the things that I promised you back in 2017 if you give me what I want. And he stopped talking to the city when he didn't get the piece of property he wanted.
Right.
And said, I'll wait for the next council. And then the next council, he got me. So he said, I'll wait for the next council. And then he got Ryan. So now he's got a council that believes that he'll come through. And will he? I'm skeptical. If he does, great. But my fear is that even if he does put businesses into all the buildings, it does not mean that people will come down here because they'll know it's Miscavige's downtown. And
Yeah.
already people say I don't come downtown because I don't want to put money into Scientology's pockets.
And that started in '79. That started way back then.
So just to change all of that is going to be incredibly difficult. And I think it's got to be something that is a major point of the next campaign, since we've got people on the council now that are more than happy to trust David Miscavige. I think it's important to have somebody like me willing to stand up and say, just wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hold on. No, you cannot
no.
trust Miscavige.
I think you'd be perfect for it.
Yeah. Me on the council, what would that be like? It'd be like those 4 years when I was on the council. Okay.
There you go. And look at all the stuff that got done.
Yep. We made some changes, and it'd be nice to get back there and continue to make a difference. Well, Magooski,
I think we need to get some celebrities in there to go talk to the city along with you.
Yeah. What celebrities, though?
I don't know. I'm just saying, right? That's what I'm thinking, is that's always a take for people like that.
Sure, absolutely. But, I'd knock on Tom Cruise's door, but he probably has better security than I do.
No, not Tom Cruise. But we could work on it. We'll work on it.
Well, the thing is, who do I know that's a celebrity? Well, Leah Remini, but she doesn't like to hop on a plane, so I don't think that we're going to get her here. And Jason McGay, I haven't talked to him in ages. So
he might be great, though.
He would be great. I'm not sure that I could convince him to come to Clearwater, but I would welcome any assistance in getting him and any other Scientology celebrities to come.
Yeah. So everybody who and they don't have to be a Scientology celebrity, because there's a lot of celebrities that don't like Scientology because of the shit they do. And I know that from my friends who work with celebrities.
So bring them all here to Clearwater. Get them down here.
We're going to get them on a bus. All right, come on, we're going.
It'll be like World War II. We're doing our part for the war effort.
Yeah.
Where they would have Bob Hope and Laurel and Hardy and all sorts of Judy Garland, all sorts of huge stars would be going around doing USO shows.
Yeah.
Selling more bonds. That's what we need.
That's what we need.
Somebody get me Bob Hope.
I know. So everybody be thinking about this. Because somebody might know somebody who knows somebody, and it'd be like, ooh, this person would be perfect. And they live in,
Tina is suggesting Megyn Kelly. If anyone wants to get Megyn Kelly down here, give it a shot. Let's see.
It's a good idea. I like Megyn Kelly.
I think Mike Rinder was on with Megyn Kelly at one point.
Yeah, he was.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would rather have Rachel Maddow, but she probably doesn't want to talk about Scientology at all.
And the Republicans down there aren't going to like Rachel.
Yeah. Ricky Glazer and Whitney Cummings is on the list. All right. Get out there. You folks recruit these people.
There you go.
Convince them to come here. So May 22nd, 6 p.m., come celebrate our Save the Garden victory and hear our plans to complete the Garden Memorial Project at the Prelude Sports Bar, 528 Cleveland Street.
Yeah.
And we'll hear all about that from Brooks tomorrow night.
All right. Well, I'll try to be there. That sounds good.
All right.
And that'll be at 7 o'clock our time, which is 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock your time.
And Bridge 1872 wants to know if anybody knows Bruce Springsteen.
I do. I just happened to be out with him the other day.
Well, Magooski convinced him to come, and he can fly you in here as well for the big thing.
Or the guy that played Bruce or Dylan, that guy. We saw him on TV last night.
Who?
You know, the young actor that played Dylan.
Yeah, what's his name? I know who you're talking about.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
I know who you mean. A guy I resent because he's too young and successful and talented, and he's everywhere.
Don't resent anyway.
I don't horrifically resent him. It's
I
just
know.
like it was one of those things. Oh, come on, this sweetheart guy, that everybody adores.
And you could be Bob Dylan. Come on.
I could.
Come on.
Timothy
Let's hear
Chalamet. That's it.
Let's hear it.
Well, I need to warm up.
Yeah, he spent 5 years studying him.
All right, let me give it a shot.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Bob Dylan.
No. Goofy, yes. Bob Dylan, no.
Okay. It's just one. Every once in a while, somebody comes along that you just have to resent because they're everywhere and they're getting all the jobs and all that kind of stuff. But then it turns out this kid is talented. So okay, I guess. All right, I'll give him a pass.
He really worked hard at it. I mean, 5 years isn't a short time to play one part.
All right, Goblin FK enjoys my impression. Hey, Pete Seeger, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat. Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
I like his imitation too. I think you could be like that guy, and I think he either passed away or is near passing away, but he was all the voices for Disney. You know who I mean?
No. All the voices for Disney?
Like Goofy and Mickey Mouse, and he was all
different people. Yeah,
he was one guy that did all these voices for all their cartoons. You don't know?
Well, Mel Blanc was the Warner Brothers guy, but he died a number of years ago.
Okay, well, maybe that's who I'm thinking of.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, there are young people who do a better job than I do. Like this guy, Eric, forget his last name, Eric Baza, I think is his name. He's really great with those Warner Brothers voices, and I'm sure plenty of others as well. I watched just a little bit of this latest full-length Looney Tunes movie where he plays both Daffy and Porky Pig, and probably other people as well.
Right.
And they are fantastic. Eric Baza. Yep. Goblin AFK says I am correct. And just for that, the answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. All right. Yeah, I wish I could have done what Mel Blanc did. He's terrific.
Yeah.
I did. I used to do all the radio commercials for the station I worked at right out of college, and I would work in things like that. I had to do one for a toy store, and so I turned it into a whole Bugs and Daffy and Tasmanian Devil scene. Just gave me a chance to do all those voices, and
that's fun.
Yeah, so I used to do stuff like that all the time, but nowhere near the quality that some of these folks can do nowadays. The most impressive part about Mel Blanc, says Goblin AFK, is that he could do Yosemite Sam's yells and still keep his voice. He was pretty amazing, and the only major male character that he didn't play was Elmer Fudd. But Mel Blanc is the only one who ever got credits in the cartoons. It was in his contract that
Wow.
when you see voices, it would be Mel Blanc.
Interesting.
There were some other talented people, like June Foray did a lot of the female voices, like Granny in the Sylvester and Tweety cartoons. And when I was in LA as a young actor, I didn't know that I could do this at that point. But there was a class given by one of the giants. And there were a handful of really talented people that were studying with this guy.
Right.
And I'm trying to think who it was. Was it Dawes Butler? It may have been Dawes Butler, who was part of the TV cartoons, did a lot of stuff for all the Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Right.
And a lot of talented people worked with him. I wish I'd known about that and had studied with him. It would have been fun. But by the time I was auditioning for any type of voiceover work, it was a very small handful of people that did all of that type of work. There was maybe 100 people who did voiceover work. And then shortly after I started auditioning for things, and I did a fair amount of audio work when I first moved to LA. I did a lot of commercials and industrial videos, and I did a few animated independent cartoons, like one Japanese dub that I did was Kabuto, where I was some giant forest giant.
Wow.
And I talked about this series of Bible stories that I was part of, where every month we would get together and record more tales from the Bible. And I just played individual characters, smaller characters. I can't raise my hand and say, oh, I was Moses. I was more or less like incidental characters in all these.
Right.
And I never saw a frame of it until I came here to Clearwater for the very first time in 1999. And I came here to videotape a transit board hearing where some of the critics had paid for anti-Scientology messages on the side of the buses here. And a half hour after they hit the street, Scientology called and got them all pulled off the road. So there was a hearing on that, and Bob Minton flew me in to do that. And I checked into the hotel here, turned on the TV, and the first thing I hear is my voice in one of these Bible story cartoons. I mean, I can't believe this. It's just so bizarre that I land here, turn on the TV. The first thing I hear is the one line of dialogue that I remembered from all those sessions of recordings. At one point, I was an elder in the village, and my line was, "We must have a king. All of the other lands have kings." And I turned on the TV, and "We must have a king. All of the other lands have kings." And I said, "What?" That was bizarre.
Yeah, that would be.
And some of those are on YouTube now. I did hunt some of them down like last year at some point, just to say if they're out there. And they are.
That's like me. CNN wanted to interview me, and I was working out in Simi Valley, and they said, "Well, where can we interview you?" And I said, "I have no idea. Maybe there's a park down here." They said, "Okay, go to the park and just look for a big white circle." These are guys in New York calling me here in LA. So I say to my friend, I got to go do this interview. So I go out to the park. There's a big white thing, and they put a thing in my ear. It's Anderson Cooper in New York. And they interview me, and it's probably 5 minutes of an interview of me. And then the rest was Michael Pattinson was on there, which was like, that was awful, where he was, I I forget what he was telling Tom Cruise or something. But anyway, it was a big mess. And then Tom Cruise. And so anyway, the thing ends and I go back to work for my break. And there I am on TV. It came on.
There you go.
The exact interview.
Yeah. So the point that I was getting to with my reminiscing about having done some voice work, right after I started doing all of that, that's when the industry started hiring big name actors to be doing animated voices. And so that took away jobs for struggling young actors coming down. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first started out there in LA, it used to be that you could movie stars weren't doing TV at all, and then they started doing TV, which meant that new actors, if you were lucky, you got a small part, unless you were Timothy Chalamet and you were just adorable to people of both sexes, in which case you became a star instantly.
Right.
Anyway, am I bitter? Yes. Why can't I be cute and adorable?
You are. You're just the only one who doesn't know it.
Well, I'm a gem.
You are.
Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And listen, Stretch is saying, Tory, please do another interview with Dr. Stephen Hassan. Oh, Hassan, rather. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
Oh,
Stephen
yeah.
Hassan, who love to see.
Okay. Thank you. I'll ask him.
Is that noise in your place?
It's probably my fan.
Okay.
There's just a little fan.
See, I got rid of the bird in my place. You've got some sort of frog or something.
No, it's a fan. It's right above me.
All right.
Super hot here today.
Well, Maguski, I have run out of questions about an hour and 21 minutes ago, and we're an hour and 22 minutes into this. Do you have more stuff you'd like to talk about?
No, I think we're good. I think
all right, everybody. Thank you for joining me here, and thank you everybody for coming by to watch us.
And thank you for my intro. Thank you for doing that.
I will trim that down and see.
And remember, I wasn't in the Sea Org. I was only in it for like a couple months.
You told me you had been in the Sea Org, so that became the basis for the whole song.
Oh, okay. Well, no. Just for a little bit. Because I have epilepsy. They routed me out to get off my medicine. That was the whole stint of why I'm out of Scientology. My fight with them.
We will see what we can do to make some changes.
All right. I love you, Bunky. And I thank you to everyone for coming on and seeing both of us.
Yes. We'll see all of you folks again soon.
Night.
Yeah, tomorrow with Brooks.
Yeah,
so
tomorrow night.
Then,
we gotta have a lot of people on. That'll be good.
It will. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. You have a nice night.
All right. Over and out.
Bye.
Bye.
What are your crimes, Mark? Yes, what are your crimes, Mark? Your crimes are hidden, they should be seen. Spin all out, Mark, and just come clean.